here from I'm in actually San Jose, Costa Rica, but I had to travel through George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. And anyway, similar scene that was happening there in Houston as I saw in Denver, perhaps probably more activity in Texas. But again, one of the interesting things that even though the numbers are going down, the COVID infections are going down, now what you're seeing in the media the whole time I was in Houston, because I stayed there overnight, was this talk about the new strain and the potential increased dangers of the new strain. And so it seems like the media is going to flog this thing to death. And again, I made some comparisons yesterday, which I stand by, because I believe that there is an agenda that's going on to cull the civil rights of Americans, Canadians in the Western Hemisphere. And I think it's disgusting. I think it's terrible. I think the media is largely to blame, but there are certain leaders that are complicit in this that are certainly to blame. Now, I did get a few questions and comments from some people about the comparison to the Soviet Russia era. And, it's kind of interesting to me when I hear people object to that. It makes me wonder if they think we're better than them. I've made this assertion before in many of my videos and some of the posts I make that one of the points of arrogance and pride of the Western Hemisphere is that we have been living in the wake of the generations of that have gone past who have been civilized. And we've looked at nations where atrocities have happened, whether it's Serbia, whether it's Rwanda, whether it's World War II, Nazi Germany, and places like this. And there's something within the Canadian mindset that perhaps thinks that, hey, you know what, we need to trust our political leaders because the rest of the world is one way, but there's no chance of these things ever coming to Canada. Well, I want you to know that if there's one thing that we can be sure of is that people are people are people. And whether it's in Canada, Rwanda, Nazi Germany, behind the Iron Curtain, that there is a corrupting influence of power that causes people to lose their sight, lose their ability to recognize who they are. Anyway, so I wanted to follow this up and encourage people, because one of the things that's being told to me by those who are suggesting that videos like this are fear-mongering, I want to say this, that the nature of political oppression like what we are facing is such that if people don't push back, it's going to get worse. The places in Canada where people have not pushed back, where they have not banded together, where they have not loudly objected to the lockdowns have gotten worse. There always seems to be another reason to sustain these rules. Even when things are getting better, there is a reluctance to release them. And again, I just don't trust the media. I do not trust many of the people who are perpetuating this fear. Part of my I guess my frustration has been that old people who are shut-ins, who don't have access to video like this, you don't see streams of video where the land is open, restaurants are open, people are meeting together. You're not seeing that on the mainstream media, except to condemn certain right-wing, extravagant, selfish measures. This is the way it's categorized on the part of people who want to be free. And so the Kool-Aid that's being served up, those that are already locked in, those that are already fearful, those that are already concerned about their health, is that you better not go out of your doors. Anybody who doesn't care and is essentially foolish. And I've heard that firsthand. So anyway, listen, I wanted to give you another snapshot of what's going on. I'm heading down to an area, part of Costa Rica tomorrow, that apparently is even more open than San Jose. I was at a meeting today. Things went really well. But keep pushing, guys. Lift up your voices. Call your MLAs. Call your MPs. Object to the increasing these rules. And for goodness sake, call in about these new measures that are keeping Canadians from international travel. I have never heard of anything so hostile to the citizenry of a nation, that we are not allowed to leave our borders, and that the Canadian government is causing and pouring out punitive measures on those who would exercise the legitimate liberties to leave the country. That's it's sickening. It's awful. It's terrible. We should not be putting up with this. Please, please, please say something. Anyway, thanks for checking in. We'll talk to you soon.